cough and splutter of the after-match reaction. Is there a chance, Michael, that because these two have played each other so often, and I mean, they might end up playing each other 7 times this season if there's a replay of this one, might they cancel each other out because they know each other too well?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance that could happen, but I don't think it will. I think, as I said earlier, you know, they're two teams that like to, you know, go and play expansive football, and it's you know, it makes for a good spectacle. And also, there's a bit of needle there as well. Obviously, what's happened previously, I think it gives the game a bit of bite to it. And as I said, all those ingredients make for, you know, hopefully a good spectacle today.
We'll hear more from Michael and from Grant at half-time. You don't need me to tell you. The teams are in the tunnel, so let's get to our commentators, Billy Dodds and Liam McLeod.
Well, it was a tempestuous League Cup quarter-final on the banks of the Murray Firth a few months ago. Feelings are still raw, particularly for a United side beaten on the night. A massive sense of grievance still rankles with those of a Tangerine persuasion. Nadir Chiefji's ordering off, the brawl on the pitch, the subsequent exit from the competition. A successful appeal after initial talk of a 16-game ban hasn't really healed the wounds inflicted on Dundee United that night. They want revenge today. Caley Thistle have since gone all the way to the final of the League Cup. This time next week, it'll almost be showtime for them. But right now, their minds cannot drift to their first ever major final. They will be on moving towards what would be a sensational cup double. United will come here with confidence. Despite that loss in October, they've only lost 2 of their last 10 visits to the Caledonian Stadium, and they've begun to click back into gear after what was an excellent autumn by and large. No Ross Draper for the hosts, he's suspended, it's a blow. 4-4-2 again today, but the difference from last week at Celtic Park is John Hughes has brought wingers in for this tie. Watkins and Doran are back in from the start. Billy Mackay, it wouldn't be a surprise if he is the difference again today. 20 goals this season. Sean Dillon's back for United with Curtis Good injured, playing for Australia in a midweek friendly against Ecuador. Ryan Gauld remains out, and Nadir Chiefji returns to the scene of the brawl. He was at the centre of the League Cup quarter-final. He has been in good form. Nick Ross, the man who scored the late equaliser in the League Cup semi-final win over Hearts, is on the Caley Thistle bench. Young defender John Souttar is fit to make the United bench. The referee's 35-year-old Willie Collum. He took charge of last season's final between Celtic and Hibernian. It was his first Scottish Cup final. Well, he knows what it takes to win the Scottish Cup and indeed score in a Scottish Cup final. McNamara against Hughes. Former Celtic teammates. No love lost this afternoon. The 4th Scottish Cup meeting between the teams. It's a win each and a draw. The most recent one was in 2007. Russell Duncan scored the only goal. United's John Rankin was in the Caley Thistle side that progressed to the last 8 on that occasion. The only other time they've been paired together in the Scottish Cup was in 1998. Goals from Olofsson, McSweggan and Zetterland took United through in a replay here. Different days for Inverness Caledonian Thistle since then. In Celtic Park next week. On the back burner, Billy Dodds. Could be some game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's no doubt that it's the biggest tie of the round, but it's also the tightest tie of the round because of that. And for me, the back fours are key today. Whoever can keep the front two, if that United back four can keep Richie Foran and Billy Mackay quiet, and we've talked about the interchange in the United's four, so it's up to the back four of Inverness to try and keep them quiet. Whoever does that is going to win the tie for me.
It's just goal difference, it separates the two in the league. United 4th, Caley Thistle 5th. And this is Stuart Armstrong, who's had another good season. Very important player in the United engine room. And here's Dillon back in the team and back with the armband. Watson, who scored here in the 1-1 draw in January, much made of the quarter-final of the League Cup. United have been back here since then. Watson to Payton. Chiefji. Harry Warren got in the way of that one. Warren, of course, will miss next week's League Cup final. He's suspended for that game. He's been booked in the semi. It's Aaron Doran. Great ball out to Foran if he can get there, and he can. Gavin Gunning out to meet him. He's run it out.
Yeah, but there's space here. You can see it right away. Andrew Robertson, high up the pitch, he likes to do that, but that leaves the channels. And on that occasion, Foran spinning, doesn't come to anything, but got down the outside the Gunning.
Yeah, United 10 goals better off than Caley Thistle in the league. And that's it. Almost came to Doran, away by Keith Watson. And again. Touch for Dean Brill, who has had a good season. Good first season at the club, 16 clean sheets. First time by Chief G looking for Rankin. Chief G. He's off Warren. He couldn't resist the shot. Shinny into Doran. Good run by Foran ahead of him. That's a little bit too powerful. Gary Warren didn't know much about that.
He stood up strong, tucked his arm behind his back, no chance at being in an unnatural position.
It is blustery here, the wind could cause problems, the rain's intermittent. Big blow, isn't it, for Inverness? Gary Warren missing next week's showpiece against Aberdeen.
Yeah, it certainly is. You feel for players like that when they miss a cup final, highlight his career, going to miss out. Feel for the lad.
Flick from Tansey. Watkins. David Raven to Vincent, blocked by Rankin. Decent pace in the opening 5 minutes, though.
It's always going to be the case, Liam, in a tight cup tie. Start of the game so important.
That 1-1 draw in January, the 2 goals that were scored in that game all came in the opening 10 minutes. It was threatening to be a goal fest. That's not how it played out. Chief G, but the free kick's been brought back for the challenge on Ryan Dow. Quickly to Mackay-Stephen. Dayton looking for Watson, Aaron Doran favourite. Dillon. Meekings watches it carefully and does his job.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Inverness when they don't have the ball. Richie Foran, make sure he's dropped himself in there, just to take care of the numerical advantage United have in midfield.
Even blocked by Armstrong. That was an awkward one for Gavin Gunning there. Just getting back to his feet. There goes Watson. Scored one of those early goals in that game in January. Mackay got the other, no surprise there. Gavin Gunning okay. Foul throw by Keith Watson.
I think you're right with the elements, Liam. Bit of wind and rain swirling about today. I was at Kirkcaldy yesterday, certainly played a part there. Raith Rovers against St Johnstone. Pitch also heavily sanded, as you see.
It was the same at Pittodrie yesterday, wind swirling around, right on the banks of the Murray Firth here. Interesting subplot today is Gavin Harris, the assistant referee, was involved with Nadir Chiefchi in that brawl in the League Cup, is one of the assistant referees this afternoon as well. He's on the different side. He was on the main stand side that night. He's on, I suppose, the Keswick Bridge side this time, hoping for a quieter afternoon. There he is, Mr. Harris.
We hope for a quieter day, no doubt.
Indeed. Nine times this season, Jackie McNamara's team have scored 4 goals or more. John Hughes with Russell Latifi there, and it hasn't really clicked into gear for John Hughes since he replaced Terry Butcher. It's been a bit stop-start for him.
I think it was always going to be a little bit more inconsistent when your manager goes, breaks up the rhythm, but you know what though, he's reached that cup final, and it's as much as the results haven't been consistent, certainly getting to that cup final has given the club a huge lift and the opportunity to get to the semi-final. It's a little bit like Aberdeen in the final against them. We're all raving about Aberdeen, but a chance to get the final obviously and get to the semi-final by winning this match. So it's not all doom and gloom.
Absolutely not. Warren. Looking for Richie Foran. Armstrong, Nixon, and then Payton with one of those challenges in the midfield area he's famed for. Such an important player for Jackie McNamara. He brought him from Partick Thistle. Well, one back though by the Highlanders. Watkins. Here goes Shinnie. Meeking's firing it through. That should be Chersniak's.
There's no doubt that John Hughes likes his teams, I remember at Falkirk, to get the ball down and play, get it on the deck, but I think you'll see a few of those raking passes. There was one up to Foran a few minutes ago, there's one straight through to the goalkeeper there, but I think they'll be going back to front a lot today. That's why they've stuck Foran up front, because of that United back four. It can be vulnerable, they have lost goals. There's a little change today with Good been out and Dillon back in there as well, trying to test them.
Gone Inverness's way. High boot of Rankin and Doran. Former Caley Thistle player John Rankin before he headed off to Hibernian. Found a real home at Tannadice. Signed that new contract recently as well, as many of the United squad have this season. Both teams struggling to get their forward players into the game so far.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's the main areas, but as I say, you said at the start, the tempo, the pace of the game, not want to give anybody space. That all happens, and that's why there's not much football been played so far in the match.
Sean Dillon's been at the club for a while now, one of the elder statesmen in the Dundee United squad, one of the cup winners of 2010. Well, these teams will fancy their chances of lifting the cup in May. Good take by Graham Shinney. Ryan Dow. And he's had a good few weeks. Chief G. It's disappointing in the end.
Yeah, story of the match so far. Dow works himself down the right channel. This guy likes to have a pop now and again. Had other options in the box. Had Rankin coming in there late, but decides to take the shot on. Never going to trouble Brill.
10 goals this season for Nadir Chiefji. Good signing. One of the many match winners that United possess. Good travelling contingent up from Tayside today. Behind Dean Brill's goal, it's Ryan Dow, who really has come to the fore the last few weeks for the Tangerines. Much has been made of Suter and Gold this season. This is Watkins for Inverness. And Vincent played wide at Celtic Park last week. The Caledonian Thistle number 4 back in the central area.
No doubt he's better in there. Good game intelligence, Vincent. Spot a pass.
Robertson away to Rankin. And by Meekings. Rankin was bundled over there. Throw in though, and it's gone Caledonian Thistle's way. What a moment it was for Andrew Robertson in midweek. He made his senior international debut playing against Poland, winning against Poland. Chiefchi chases. What a chance this is! A chance that is tucked away beautifully by Nadir Chiefchi, and United have the advantage in this quarter-final.
Well, for me, they're in all sorts of trouble. It's a back four. Brill comes, he shouldn't be coming. Warren caught high up the pitch. Meekins has got to try and match him. There's only one winner. He's down the outside, he's got pace. We know he can score goals. You see here, Warren, look at him, goes to the ball, should be deepening. Meekins can't get across. Brill comes. There's all sorts of mistakes in there. But what a finish, take nothing away from Chiefchi. He gets here, he knows what he's doing. Sticks in the net, good finish.
Well, Josh Meeking's right knee knows all about the post here. He's limping a bit as we watch Chiefchi knocking the ball home. He still had a lot to do when he went round the keeper. Lovely finish. 11 for the season for Chiefchi. He's just continuing this rich vein of form that he is in, and he's proving to be a massive player for Dundee United.
Yeah, it's not just about his goals now. He's got the all-round game, he's strong, physical presence, game intelligence, holds up, chips in as you see, got a bit of pace. But when he got there, you're right, the angle wasn't great, but there was only one thing in his mind, sticking in the back of that net.
Inverness looking for a response now. Ravens free kick for Watkins, taking it for a run. Ravens still out there, out comes Robertson. Chiefchi takes it over. Robertson wanted to take that on down the wing. Chiefchi finds Dow. Armstrong, picked up by Raven. Meeking seems to have recovered from the bang to the post that he took, trying to keep Chief Cheese shot out. It's Paul Payton. Oh, it's a bad one, Paul Payton. Oh, Willie Collum is playing on here. Payton went slamming into Billy Mackay, and Mackay is lying in a crumpled heap as play continues. Marley Watkins. Mackay trying to get back to his feet as Watkins plays it across. Rankin will put the ball out because Billy Mackay is struggling. He looks as though he's recovered okay from it, because that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and we'll have a look, see if it's a straight legger, but it looks as if it was there to be won. Yeah, I just think that's a clash. There's nothing. He goes for the ball, Payton. Yeah, he catches him. It's a sore one for Mackay, but no real intent there. It's good that he's okay, Mackay. Picked himself up. Don't like to see that, but accidental for me. Ball was there to be challenged.
Yeah, Paul Payton loves to mix it up in the midfield. He can pass the ball, but he's got that about him. He can do the dirty work as well, and Dundee United have flair players all over the place today as well, and Armstrong, Mackay, Stephen, Chief Chi, Ryan Dow as well, and even John Rankin to a certain extent, but Paul Payton does the dirty work, no problem. Billy Mackay okay. Shinnie. Comes to Watson. Stuart Armstrong, Mackay Stephen makes his run, so too Robertson. Here goes Robertson. Willie Collins going to bring that back. Inverness free kick. Well, he's the difference at the moment. United trying to get back into the Scottish Cup semi-final.
Let's have a look back at the goal. I mean, as much as it was brilliant from Chief Team, ball given away there, no pressure on the ball. Look at Warren. He should deepen now. He just stands and watches. It's clipped over into his area. Meekins tries to come across, but Brill shouldn't be doing that either. Take nothing away from Chief G. He sticks in the back of the net, but so much wrong defensively from Inverness's point of view.
Richie Foran, meantime, has won a free kick in a reasonable area. Under Terry Butcher, in the more kind of recent times, we've seen Richie Foran playing. He's a kind of almost sitting midfielder. Terry Butcher always played the two sitters. He was in beside Ross Draper for most of this season, but also under Terry Butcher at Motherwell a few years ago now, Richie Foran would play up front, and that's what he's doing today when Caley Thistle have the ball.
Yeah, played him on the left as well, Terry Butcher for Motherwell. Stuck him on the left-hand side, used to kick on him. Brilliant there. He's versatile. I just think getting a bit older now, sometimes better just sitting there. Is that game intelligence, passing the ball about, using his experience in the central area midfield.
Saw Greg Tansey scored a wonder goal in the League Cup semi-final. He's clipped it in this time, headed across the face for Mackay. Well, it was Warren who found the prolific Mackay.
There's no doubt Inverness are playing on this, getting the big guys up there. United don't handle it again. Mackay tries to get it back over at the angle to loop it beyond Chersniak. Can only get it onto the top of the net, but I said it's a way forward for Inverness, and it nearly was on that occasion.
Seems okay after that bump with Payton earlier. There is Payton. Down, fouled by Shinnie. Ryan Dow there made his debut against Rangers in May 2010. It's only now he's beginning to force himself into the team as that goes in towards Chief G. Warren takes no chances. He knew Gunning was right behind him.
To be fair, it's a great area that Payton hits. Goalkeeper thinks about coming, but you know what happened to the goal. He goes back. Warren has to deal with it.
Zipped in. Away by Vincent. A bad corner, really, from Ryan Dow. Chief G. Nicely done for Watson. United fans behind the goal there, loved that.
So he talked about his all-round game, his physical presence, his game intelligence. He's also got a few flicks in the locker. Saw him against Motherwell recently. A few tricks thrown in.
He's a man playing with confidence. He's a first pick for McNamara, that's for sure. That's Foran. Robertson beats Doran to it. Chief G takes it down. Shout for a handball from the Caley Thistle fans. Shinney for Mackay. It's Armstrong. It's breaking down at the crucial point for Inverness. So it does again. Greg Tansey. Josh Meekings. Too much.
It's that long ball again though. It's got to be clipped in. Just weighted in there, not driven. And 2 minutes gone right through so far in the match. I agree with you. Maybe just keep the ball, don't force too quickly for Inverness. Struggling to get a hold of the ball midfield.
Just over the quarter mark. John Hughes sitting down. Doesn't do that too often. Pressing the panic button just yet, plenty time to go.
You'd never rule this Inverness side out of anything, even if they're not playing well, especially after what they did in the League Cup semi-final against Hearts.
Yeah, that was astonishing. 9 men for the entire extra time period. 9 men when Nick Ross levelled it at 2-2 at Easter Road. Against the odds, they defeated Hearts. 2 men down. But a goal down just now, trying to remedy that situation. This is Aaron Doran. Raven. Well, Inverness feel they should have had a corner there, and David Raven's raging about that.
Dear oh dear, Willie Conker right on the spot, isn't he? It's that long ball again, causing a few problems. Thought Doran was going to think about pulling the trigger there. Lays it wide. I mean, look at Willie Conker. He can't, he's just out of sight in the screen, but he's 2 yards away and he can't see that. Raven not happy with him.
Yeah, clear corner. I think you can see what Yogi made of that. Volley of abuse to Craig Charleston, the 4th official. His right ear's throbbing just now. And John Hughes back for more. Out of your picture is Andrew Robertson. Picks up possession for United. He's going again. Round 3. I'll let you know how that goes.
There's only one winner.
Yogi on points right now. Doran chasing. Well, Keith Watson's knocked it out for an Inverness corner kick. He was under pressure, to be fair. You can hear the ironic cheers from the Caley Thistle fans as they get that one. No doubt about that one. Everyone could see that. It's Aaron Doran prepares to take this Caley Thistle corner. Jersniak stuck to his line. Dillon's clearance is more height than distance. Warren to Foran. Watkins' effort was blocked, didn't catch it cleanly. Rookies have to be careful. Oh, and that comes back towards the goal, and Chiefty's there! A horrible goal from an Inverness point of view, and Nadir Chiefty says thanks very much. He has both. United have insurance. They are 2 to the good now.
Honestly, I really don't know what the Inverness defence are thinking. After the first goal, I'm thinking about Josh Meekins. I'm fearing for him here. Right, put the boot through it, son. Now, shot with the pass back. Goalkeeper doesn't help, and when it's not your day, it's not your day, because Brill doesn't catch it properly. Cannons back off Meekins, and Chiefty has got the easiest task to get his second, and Dundee United's second, but just catastrophic from Inverness, really is.
Nadir Chiefty plays for the Terrors. He is terrorising Inverness Caley Thistle this afternoon. United edge closer to a second successive Scottish Cup semi-final. They were beaten by Celtic in a thriller in the last 4 last season. 4-3 after extra time. Ball from Raven, confirmation of Chiefty being booked for his celebrations there as that's hoisted away by Payton. Inverness have it all to do. Earlier on this season they went 4-0 down to Aberdeen in a league game here, and that was the half-time score. They roared back into it, eventually finished 4-3. They did lose the match, but they came back and almost stole a point in the end. Here comes Graham Shinnie! They need the next goal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Graham Shinnie takes the bull by the horns, drives. Watson not going to him, unleashes a strike, but Jersniak's got that covered.
It was in a Dundee United counter. They got the second goal there. Inverness looking for a route back in. Watkins got by Mackay-Stephen.
The boys in the studio, especially Grant Monroe, could have a field day at half-time doing the analysis for the goals that Inverness have given away.
Scouser Raven finds Mackay. And again. How they would love Billy Mackay to open his box of tricks. Needs something from somewhere. Tansey back out to Raven. Keeper flaps at it, but the ref's not happy with the challenge on Radislav Jersniak.
I think they might have given the push and gunning Willie Collin, because Jersniak didn't look as if he was touched. Have a look now. Jersniak comes. Yeah, an arm across him, to be fair. Foran. Willie Collin, good referee, got that one correct.
Furthest Inverness have got in this tournament is the semi-finals. They reached them in successive years, 2003, 2004, losing to Dundee and Dunfermline after a replay. In from Doran, picked up by Vincent. Doran again. Not bad. Dillon flicks it away. Mackay-Stephen finds Robertson. Armstrong. It's Mackay. Inverness would rip your arm off for a replay right now. Dundee United looking for another Chiefty, put enough pressure on Meekins to force him to just knock it out of play.
I bet Meekins is wishing he'd done that the last time. Just put the boot through it, put it into touch, ask questions later.
Armstrong dows under it, so too Steve Brill. The goal came at a good time for Dundee United, the second goal, because Inverness had begun to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We're beginning to find passes in the final third, and that kind of sums things up for them so far. Aaron Doran running the ball out. But it's been the Chifchi show in the Highland capital.
I mean, we were talking about the first goal. I mean, you see him kicking off from there, but so much happened before that. Meekins, I'm fearing for him. I'm thinking, just put your boot through it, and he doesn't. He lets it bounce. Then he's shot with the pass back. Then the kick out for Brill's not great, and it cannons off him. How many mistakes do you want to make in the 2 goals?
Warren wins the free kick. Seen Johnston already into the semi-final draw, which takes place later today. Aberdeen already through, having beaten Dumbarton yesterday. Saints won at Raith Rovers. Rangers host Albion Rovers in the final quarter-final. Draw made after that. Tansy's free kick headed away by Gunning, and now Stuart Armstrong is carrying the ball out. Dow returns it to him. They'll keep that in play. Asking a lot. He's unlucky though. Gavin Harris, assistant referee, trying to keep a low profile this afternoon. I'm not sure all the Dundee United fans have recognised him yet.
That was a wee tester for him, that's for sure.
Meekins has had a horrible afternoon so far. Dark clouds rolling in over Inverness just now as Tansey is adjudged to have fouled Dow. It's a Dundee United free kick. They're trying to kill this game before half-time.
They've been like that in recent weeks. Dow going for it, Tansey across. Catches him.
4 wins in a row coming into this one, the visitors. Caley Thistle a bit punch drunk at Celtic Park last week, losing 5-0. Dean Brill had a poor moment in that game as well. Let a Chris Commons shot squirm underneath him. Payton takes the free kick, and then there's Watson, and Brill saves. Still not away yet. Picked up by Chifchi. To apologise for the language as well. The mic's picking that up just down in the goal line. Big moment there for Dundee United. Watson could have put this tie to bed there. Still United play on. Here's Ryan Dow. Chifchi. John Rankin. United coming forward with menace. Gunning goes down. It's a penalty. Gavin Gunning up from the back. Wins his side a spot kick. Well, Willie Collum was in no doubt.
Yeah, Gunning certainly gets there first, but we'll have a look at it. I think he's on his way down. Yeah, he's clipped, but I think he's already on the way down before Shinnie gets here. It's in the box. Willie Collum on the spot, gives a penalty kick. It's all going against Inverness. Gunning been in good goal-scoring form as well. Sort of the soft variety for me, I would say. Certainly contact, but...
Well, Gavin Gunning will take this. Chifchi's not getting his hat-trick chance, but Gunning could have just put Dundee United into the last 4, and we're not even in half-time here. It's 3-0.
Yeah, the defensive woes go on, but again, we'll look at that later. The boys will look at it at half-time, but you want an emphatic penalty. Gavin Gunning, I say, in goal-scoring form, just smashes it right down the middle of the goal. Brill, absolutely no chance.
It's a long, long way back for the Highlanders now. The Dundee United fans who have made the journey up to the Highland capital have been rewarded with a wonderful first half from their team. 36 minutes on the clock, and they're all but into the semi-finals. Not impossible for Caley Thistle. Teams do come from 3-0 down, but Dundee United, if anything, look like scoring more every time they come forward.
Yeah, they've been ruthless. but it's cut to the chase. Inverness are handing it to them in terms of the first 2 goals and then giving away the penalty. But United have got to take those chances, and they've certainly done that. We said about the edge have got back in the game, and I think they've shown that today, haven't they?
Is there anything, Billy, in the Cali Thistle performance that suggests they have an eye on next week's final in the League Cup?
I think too much an eye. I think a few of them could have played their way out the cup final, but they'll be looking at that Aberdeen game you were talking about, and that's a half-time team talk. We know what happened there. We get a goal, get the confidence up, they might panic. That'll all be getting said at half-time, but whether that'll be enough, especially if they continue to defend the way they have, Inverness.
The only way you see that working is if you score an early goal at the start of the second half. As better a goal now, just before half-time, as Billy Mackay did that night against Aberdeen. Doesn't happen often. Another one there, another simple ball out to Shinnie, and it's out of play, and United possession back. It's all going horribly wrong for John Hughes.
United have done their bit, we'll have to compliment them, but you know, you can see the confidence draining out this Inverness team. 5-0 last week against Celtic, and they've taken that into the game today. They've looked unsure, nervous, talked about the defensive mistakes, giving away the penalty.
This is Graham Shinnie. Tansey picks up. Greg Tansey. Yeah, just sorry for cutting you off there, Billy. I mean, it doesn't do anything for their morale at all, does it? Going into such a huge game for the club next week.
No, it doesn't. But as I said, I would never write off this Inverness team, but tell you what, there's so many departments to their game, it has to be better going into that cup final.
Months before Andrew Robertson, in your picture there, made his Scotland debut against Poland in Warsaw. He was playing still on the road with Borough Briggs against Elgin City for Queen's Park in a 5-3 win. What a 12 months it has been for him. That's Dean Brill having to scamper away from his goal line. And if one thing has been a big strength for Cali Thistle this season, it has been their defending. We know Gary Warren in the cup final next week. That's through for Foran. It'll probably be Danny Devine who will partner Josh Meekings at Celtic Park. To half-time. Inverness Cali Thistle 0, Dundee United 3. Clinical from the Tangerines. This is Watson. Just kept out. Foran to Mackay. Tansey. Raven. Inverness need something soon. They need something to get their teeth into. Tansey. And Doran. Morris Malpass to the left. Hibernian assistant manager, former Cali Thistle assistant manager. He's beside Tony Docherty. It's the Aberdeen assistant manager. Mentioned the cup final next week, and of course attention is very much on that. but Morris Malpass and Terry Butcher returning to face Caley Thistle with Hibernian. That's in midweek. Rearranged fixture. Both assistant managers had smiles on their faces there. Inverness being demolished at the moment. Watkins. It's a goal kick only. Hasn't really gone into the game, Marley Watkins. It's been difficult for him. Billy Mackay, Foran, Doran. Came off Dillon's head last, away by Robertson. Tansey, Willie Collins sends him off. It's going from bad to worse here for Caley Thistle. Tansey off, Caley Thistle down to 10.
He just leaves the stud showing it. We're so close to it here, Liam, we can see it. It's just the leg, straight leg, just leaves the studs, lets Paul Payton kick right off them. You're right, bad to worse, silly, call it what you want. I think you'll see the evidence now. I mean, he could go and just win the ball, but look at that. Naughty. Daft, call it what you like. Tell you what, we're talking about half-time team talk, get the next goal. I don't know where John Hughes will start with his team talk. That's just, you can't be doing that and expect to stay on the pitch, sorry.
A week before the League Cup final, the first major final in the club's history. The worst possible preparation. They're being hammered at home. And this is a much tougher scrape that they find themselves in to the one they managed to recover somehow from in the League Cup semi-final. Tansey off. Paul Payton is okay. He had a meaty challenge himself earlier on, but that was within the rules. That one wasn't. In his comfort zone just now, Jackie McNamara, isn't he? Watching on, quite happy with what he's seeing. Little wonder. This is Richie Foran. Doran, the overlap coming from Shinnie. He's going to take this on himself.
It's a great run from Shinnie. Can understand him having a pop, Doran. But for me, he should use him there. Goes for the far corner. Never beaten Chesney yet. Need something, need a miracle, to be quite honest.
We played the 45 minutes. Well, where does John Hughes start with this? What a mess for him, but Dundee United have been absolutely clinical. Nadir Chifchi put them 1 and then 2-0 up. Horrible defending from a Caley Thistle point of view before Gavin Gunning smashed home a penalty after a foul by Graham Shinnie at half-time in this William Hill Scottish Cup quarter-final. Because of Nadir Chifchi and because of the Gavin Gunning penalty, United are all but through to the semi-finals of this competition already, where they will hope for better against whoever they are drawn against, having been in that position against Celtic a year ago. Half-time at the Inverness Caledonian Stadium. Inverness Caley Thistle 0, Dundee United 3.
Looking very, very difficult.
They've got form in Inverness as well. Remember, they were 4-0 down at home against Aberdeen and they came back into it and gave them a fright. So, you know, you can't write them off completely, and they need to get the next goal. That's the big one, the next goal.
And let's give Dundee United credit as well, because they've gone for the jugular, haven't they, given the opportunities.
They're that type of team, though. They're not they're not a team that are going to sit back. They're, you know, we've seen it this season. They've scored 4, 5, 6 goals in games. They once they smell blood, they go for it, Dundee United, and I'm pretty sure that will be the same tactic in this half as well.
Well, the second half is going to have to go, Sam, to rival the first 45 minutes for talking points. It's been sensational so far. 2 from Nadir Chiefchi 3-0 Dundee United against 10-man Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Here comes that second half with Billy Dodds and with Liam McLeod. Back to you, Liam.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, what can Inverness do here? The difference, of course, despite being an extra goal down against Aberdeen, is that they had 11 men on the park. And it is they who get us back underway. They will have had a fleeing ear from John Hughes up against Dundee United, who have won the Scottish Cup twice. 1-0 win over Rangers in 1994, Craig Brewster and all that. And then in 2010, the 3-0 win over Ross County from just up the road. Here comes Graham Shinney. That's a good run from him! They test Chersniak. Well, Inverness need to get an early goal in the second half, and they almost had one there.
That's the second time Shinney getting forward. Good tackle there on Armstrong. Positive, direct. Great strike as well. It's moving. Chersniak does well to get it away.
Made by Gunning. We're hearing that John Hughes did go to see Willie Collum, the referee, in his office at half-time, as that comes through to Stuart Armstrong. And off Armstrong last, so it is a goal kick. That chat between John Hughes and Willie Collum we're hearing did end amicably. There were no afters, but he's obviously had plenty to say.
I think he's got plenty to say to his team. I think he'll be looking first and foremost there. But on that occasion, this is a danger now for Inverness. Looks as if they're going to just sit forehand and let the other four get forward. It's like a 4-1-3-1 formation for Inverness. But when you see Armstrong's chance here, that's United to the fore. When they can counter-attack you, they're quick. And they nearly caught Inverness on that occasion a few moments ago.
Well, they know their way to goal, Dundee United. Only Celtic have scored more goals than them in the SPFL Premiership this season. Before today, they'd scored 3 or more in 13 of their 32 matches. You can add another one to that. Chief G making a nuisance of himself again. 2 goals today. Rankin to Robertson. Gets away with that. Showed too much of it to Billy Mackay, really. Armstrong tried to return the favour to Keith Watson. Dundee United unbeaten in their last 5 games since losing 3-0 up the road in Dingwall against Ross County in January. They found their feet again because the majority of the winter, December into January, that Christmas period in particular, was a kind of winter of discontent as far as results were concerned. They were right up there and still have ideals on second place in the Premiership, and their form has come back at just the right time. It's creeping into the spring. Meantime, Raven free kick for Inverness. It's looking for Foran, away by Watson. It's Armstrong. And this is the danger. Caledonian Thistle trying to get back at Gary Mackay-Steven here, who is in! It's 4! Wonderful counter-attack from Dundee United! And Gary Mackay-Steven, who is a Highlander, has surely now put them through.
That we just said a moment ago, they've got the players to hurt you, and they do that. They defend the set piece, and then they just counter. One pass, and there's no catching this lad. He's the one that can really hurt you with his pace. You see Armstrong picks him out, halfway line, running, never catching him. Raven trying to get back there, through the legs of Chersniak. Nice and easy for United now. Great finish from Gary Mackay-Steven.
The man from Caithness, man from Thurso, knocks the ball in off the post, and Caledonian Thistle are 4 down. Dundee United well in their way. Well, I'm pretty sure Jackie McNamara could not have envisaged this kind of afternoon. Everything has gone right for them. That was a wonderful counter-attack as well from Mackay-Steven. All came from an Inverness free kick.
Yeah, it was a set piece, as we said, and Armstrong one pass. And then he's got a 50-yard run and slots at home. Gary Mackay-Steven, it's that simple for United. They have the players that are going to destroy you, in this, especially in this situation.
In the meantime, there's a problem for United here. Ryan Dow's the man who's on the deck. And this is why.
It's fair from Shinnie. Robust, hard challenge. Side foot through the ball.
Dundee United looking like cup winners, Billy.
They've got the players, there's no doubt about it. As I said, I still worry about them sometimes defensively, but if you look at that front four and then the balance of Payton and Rankin in there, certainly got the players to go and win it. Let's have another few teams up.
Here's Armstrong. It's caught by Richie Foran. Richie Foran will be hoping to lift silverware above his head next weekend. Defeat today far from ends their season. Ryan Dow still struggling after that challenge from Graham Shinnie. Looks like a sub will have to be made. This is Rankin for Robertson. Gunning. And it looks like the only question needing answered is how many United are going to score today. They've scored 4 in a match for the 10th time this season with that Gary Mackay-Steven goal. When they're good, they're very good.
You feel for them, you really do. It's all gone against them. Yeah, poor defending, then the penalty decision, sending off, then you get a team like United have got quick players who can hurt you in the counter-attack, and they do that. I'll tell you what, I'll take some reaction from them to go and win the cup final next week. But they are capable, shown that before.
Yeah, Hibs to play in the league before that. Well, here's the change for Dundee United. Farid El Alaghi will come on. Former Falkirk player. A bit of a goal machine there. It was after John Hughes had left the Falkirk Stadium. The Moroccan will be in place shortly. Okay, here it comes now. Ryan Dow off then. El Alaghi on.
Yeah, take no chances without. Game's gone for Inverness. United well in front. Saving them. Alaghi on. Chipped in with a goal against Hibs the other week there. Nice finish at the front post.
Yeah, he's got a couple for Dundee United. He scored 27 in 43 appearances for Falkirk in his one season there, 2011-12. Gunning, you got the third from the penalty spot after he was fouled by Graham Shinnie. Chief G got the first 2. Mackay-Steven with the 4th. And it's going to be a very long second half for Inverness Caledonian Thistle. The Dundee United fans dancing away up the other end of the park from the one that United are attacking. Loving this. Marley Watkins. Losing out to Payton. Industrious work from Paul Payton again. And he's a player who's found a home at Tannadice, Paul Payton, just in recent months. He really does look the part, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Rankin's helped him. I know the two of them helped the team, but I think that when he first came to United, he struggled playing that sitting role himself, getting about the pitch, mobility, but since Rankin's got in there with him, he really has shone in that department. Look, a top player, Paul Payton.
Payton and Chris Erskine joined Jackie McNamara, Simon Donnelly at Dundee United, having been together at Partick Thistle. Chris Erskine back there on loan, of course. That's Doran sliding in on Rankin. By Warren. Dundee United looking for a second Scottish Cup victory in 4 years. Considering they only had one before that, it would be some achievement. Really good quarter-final record recently, Dundee United. They've won 3 out of their last 4 before today. Dundee last season were beating Rangers in 2010 as they went on to lift the trophy. Aberdeen 5 years before that. They did lose out to Celtic in 2012. And in the semi-finals last season. That's Armstrong, and it's 5! They're making it look very, very simple.
It's just quality written all over it. The ball wide, the ball in from Keith Watson with pace, with power, and then the run from Armstrong across Gary Warren with a bullet header. You see here, Watson wraps a foot round it. Look at the run, cross Warren. What a header that is. Just rub salt in the wound, that.
Last year's SPFA Young Player of the Year, Stuart Armstrong, with his 8th goal of the season. Wonderful ball in by Keith Watson. And Inverness have lost 5 goals for the 2nd successive match.
You're asking what to do now. I think it's damage limitation. Sit your 4 deep. Don't do that either, give the ball away.
That doesn't help. This is El Elagui. Blocked by Warren that time. Well, there's still not an hour on the clock yet, Billy.
I really fear for them. Could be anything, because they're still trying to play. Give them credit, Inverness. Playing high, they're still trying to play football. They're trying to get players forward. I think your 2 banks of 4 just sit them there and say, OK, we'll just keep it at 5, because although that sounds ridiculous, could get a whole lot worse.
I don't think they're going to have a say in it. The Dundee United fans are shouting, "We want 10." They've added a couple since half-time, have United. Watkins. Foran for Raven. If Nadir Chiefchi wants a hat-trick, he better do it quick. He's about to be hooked. And what we hear as Watkins plays it through for Mackay. Side net.
Still going at it, aren't they? A nice sharp run from him. Just got to go across the goalkeeper. You can see his movement though. It's only a couple of yards. Never going to beat Chersniak at the near post.
Didn't happen for Billy Mackay. Brian Graham and Margaro Gomez will come on for Dundee United. Cali Thistle going to throw a couple on too. We'll deal with Dundee United first. John Rankin, the first to be replaced. Margaro Gomez, like-for-like change. Jackie McNamara has this luxury now where he can rest a couple of players. Big league games to come as they chase Aberdeen and Motherwell in 2nd and 3rd. So Margaro Gomez, cup winner in 2010, comes on, and Nadir Chiefchi got the first 2 today, and he is getting a rest now as well.
Yeah, he had a helping hand, but still had to do that. Tight finish, really well taken. This one's easy for him. When your luck's in, your luck's in. Good day at the office, job done. Go and get a wee rest.
He's replaced by big Brian Graham. Darren Jackson knew his way to goal himself there. Simon Donnelly too. Pat in the back for Nadir Chiefchi. Caley Thistle have made a couple of changes as well. Danny Williams I saw getting ready to come on. Liam Polworth as well. Headed away by Dillon. And Robertson goes back to his keeper. Aaron Doran, who didn't play against Celtic last week, he's injured. He has been taken off with half an hour of this one still to go. Nothing really to be gained for Inverness. Might be tempted to bring Billy Mackay off at some point as well, with next week in mind, as Caley Thistle come forward with Shinnie, and it's through to Chersniak again. Payton switching to Watson. I suppose the question is, Billy, do Dundee United fancy it? Do they fancy getting more goals today? Because so often you see teams, they get to 4 or 5 and they're quite happy to just play the game out.
Yeah, United don't do it any other way though. We've talked about that ruthless streak. They've got the players, the tools on the pitch to do that. But if I was Inverness, I'm just thinking, as I say, sit deep. Don't give them any more. Don't drain any more confidence out of you, as if it's not already been drained.
Richie Foran was the other Caley Thistle player to come off. Skipper. Gomez. Played an integral role for Dundee United in his first spell at the club, including that Scottish Cup journey in 2010. And they routed Ross County in the final. Williams loses out to Payton. Well, the sun's come out here in the Highland capital, but it's only shining on one team. It's the one in possession just now. The one whose fans are doing the Olays, moving all the way forward to the William Hill Scottish Cup semi-finals. Reminder, the draw for that to come after Rangers play Albion Rovers. Both semi-finals at Ibrox this season. Foul against Caley Thistle. Trip on El Alagi.
Not surprising from Shinnie. All those passes, nothing more frustrating for a professional footballer when the opposition fans giving it the Olays.
Sometimes get booked for that. Gunning. Dundee United had a couple of players a booking away from missing the semi-final. John Rankin was one of those. He's gone off. Andrew Robertson is the other. Already been booked in the competition. 2 bookings, 2 strikes, and you miss the next game. Caley Thistle had a booking away from missing the semis, but they're not going to have to worry about that. Ryan Graham getting it from Mackay Stephen. Gary Warren put himself under pressure there. Eventually had to challenge Armstrong, and Dundee United have the ball. They're pinning Caley Thistle back again. Too much on it from Payton that time. Dean Brill having to pick the ball out of his net 5 times, the second game in a row, Billy.
Yeah, the worrying thing is he's had a hand in a few. Good goalkeeper. You were talking about how well he's done since he's come to the club, but It's not been his day today. Mind you, it's not been any of the Inverness players' day today.
Shinnie, Mackay. Williams to Polworth. Vincent. Mackay sizes it up. I mean, it's not your day.
Again, they're positive though. You see full-back Shinnie up the pitch, rolls it into Mackay. You're right, just can't hit the target. Still giving it a go.
Tell you what, Billy, I was at a game very early in the season. It was away back in August. It was at Tannadice between these two. Inverness bossed it. They only won the game 1-0. Dundee United, I think even United fans, Jackie McNamara would admit, they were pretty woeful that day. Since then, they have gone on a couple of brilliant runs, most notably in the autumn, and they're level in points with Caley Thistle in the league. But just the complete contrast between these two today to that match in August is frightening.
Yeah, some transformation. They'll get special players, United.
Caley Thistle have still got a quarter of this match to negotiate. Although in fairness, Dundee United haven't scored for a while now. Shinnie clears. Mackay's got no one behind them. Jackie McNamara giving the Dundee United fans a wave there upon request. Andrew Robertson. Armstrong. Loads to hit in Tangerine in the middle. Spoilt for choice. Goes for Robertson. The likes of Ryan Gold, people like that, Gary Mackay, Stephen often get the headlines, but Stuart Armstrong has had another solid season, hasn't he? Very good midfielder.
He's a player, no doubt. Jackie McNamara, I think, believes he's the best out of them, and that says a lot. He's got plenty to choose from.
Watson through for Mackay Stephen. Gunning. Robertson. Armstrong. Graham does well to pinch it back. Farid El Alaghi is blocked. 3 defenders around him, so he didn't get the clean shot that he desired.
The theme nearly continued though. Graham Shinnie will be thankful that chance was lost, because he could have. He brought it down, he could have put a boot through it, decides to take a touch. Graham nicks it off him. Just can't fashion out a shot though, United.
This is Graham. And Alaghi goes up. Again, it just seems a little bit too easy from an Inverness point of view. Well, Gary Mackay Stephen on the showboat again.
That's all you need when you're 5-0 down, eh?
Well, if you can't get the tricks out when you're 5-0 up, then when can you? Armstrong, too much on it for Gomez maybe? Yep. This must be a delight as a Dundee United fan to sit down and watch this.
Fan, manager, chairman, all having a nice, easy day at the office. You don't get many of them.
Cigars are out. Day in the Highlands. It's normally a good experience, especially so if you're a Dundee United supporter this afternoon. Watkins, let's have a runner to pick up on the left and Shinnie. Hey! There's Mackay. Watkins stepping away from Mackay Stephen, and he slams into Paul Payton. It's red again! It's red again! Caley Thistle down to 9 men as they were in the League Cup semi-final. Marley Watkins is off. Dreadful, dreadful day for Inverness Caledonian Thistle Football Club.
What next? I mean, as much as I disagreed with Michael on that, because I think there was intent in the first sending off because he doesn't have to leave his leg and his studs showing. But in that one, I just think he goes for the ball. Maybe I'll be proved wrong once I see the replay. I think he genuinely goes for the ball there, Watkins. Maybe he's showing the studs again, maybe it's similar. But first impressions, I thought he just makes a genuine attempt for the ball. Yeah, studs are showing, but gets the ball. I don't think it's like the other one because he gets a bit in the ball, catches him. Well, they call him no doubt in the mind. The only thing you would say, he doesn't have to go with the studs.
Former Chelsea trainee Marley Watkins, he's gone. Caley Thistle are down to 9 men for the final 18 minutes.
They've been there before. Don't think they'll be pulling back this one though.
No. Those preparations for a cup final go. This is... They are with the worst. Do you have a league game to play beforehand as well? They can perhaps shake this match and performance and discipline out of their system when Hibernian come to visit midweek, but 7 days' time, John Hughes needs to turn this around big time. And now John Hughes has said too much. He's wanting a bit of compassion, John Hughes. Things can't get much worse for him, surely. It's Mackay Stephen on the ball for Dundee United. Payton. Slip from Farid El Alaghi. We will try to get as much post-match reaction to you on the television as possible, but we will be on the website bbc.co.uk/sportscotland afterwards. John Hughes, of course, might take a while to come out from the dressing room afterwards as Gary Mackay-Stephen goes into Willie Collum's book.
I think the crowd's reaction got him booked because Willie Collum certainly wasn't going for the yellow straight away.
It was a pace. When you look at it in the replay, it looks, when you've got it down in slow motion, it doesn't look quite as bad, but at pace, the referee sees it.
Yeah, with what's gone before in the game as well. I think Inverness fans were baying for that one.
They have, at times, lost gluts of goals, Caley Thistle. Dundee United, of course, have scored gluts of goals, but Inverness losing 4 to Aberdeen, they lost 4 to St Johnstone earlier in the season, 5 to Celtic last week, 5 so far today. So more than 15 minutes to go. Inverness free kick. Dundee United bench didn't know what Willie Collum had spotted there. Warren's forward, Chersniak beats him to it though. And here they go, the 9 men stretched at the back. Williams did well initially, but here comes Andy Robertson. Didn't fall for them that time. Okay, to Raven, Vincent. Fulworth. Gary Warren. The Ole's this time you're hearing are still coming from the Dundee United supporters as Inverness string a few passes together, going nowhere fast. Graham Shinnie trying to change that. He's found Mackay. He finds Vincent. Fulworth. Well, born out of frustration from Liam Polworth. Kind of shot you take on when you're 5-0 down. Just beaten before he took it. Stuart Armstrong. Mackay Stephen. El Alagi's got Brian Graham in the middle. Armstrong arriving there as well. They want a penalty for handball. Not given. The Moroccan continues. Goal kick. He wants the corner. It's away by Meekings. Williams and Shinnie. Foul by Sean Dillon. Billy Mackay's taken another knock with one of them in the first half. But one thing's for sure, if Caley Thistle are going to win the League Cup next week, you feel they will need Billy Mackay. They do not need him picking up an injury today. He's back on his feet, as you can see. He's been in the wars today. That would be the only thing that would make Caley Thistle's day worse. Would be to lose one of their important players for the next week or two.
Probably the most important, isn't it?
Shinnie floating it in. United clear. Dean Brill up the other end has had loads of clean sheets this season. It's come off the rails spectacularly for Caley Thistle today. Radislav Chersniak has only managed 5 compared to Brill's 16. The Dundee United defence have not really been duly troubled today. Shinnie somehow wins the free kick there. Looked too much in it. Oh dear.
To be fair to him, I think Gunning just misses it by a fraction. I think that puts Raven off. You see there. Behind him as well. Probably a more difficult chance than what it first looked.
It's not his forte, to be fair, David Raven. Played a handful of games for Liverpool. And by Meekings, who of course was due to miss the League Cup final. They appealed his red card that he got in the League Cup semi. Appealed against it. He's downgraded to a yellow, so he will be available next week, injury dependent. This is Polworth. A good play by Gomez. Mackay Stephen. It's it back from Watson. Gunning. Good play by Gunning, he's taken Raven out of it. Meekings clears. Armstrong. Robertson. El Alagui. It's Armstrong again. United corner going into the final 9 minutes here. Caley Thistle, remember, down to 9 men. Tansey and Watkins sent off. Armstrong, Mackay, Stephen and Gunning with a goal each. Chief G with 2 as Gomez floats it in. Easy for Brill that time. Gunning. That was poor. Roundly booed by the Dundee United supporters, but you can afford to smile.
He's not had a bad couple of weeks, has he? 4 goals.
Yeah, a couple against Hibs recently. Scored a penalty today. United missed 2 penalties in that game against Hibernian at Easter Road. And still won comfortably. A Hibernian team that come here in midweek, Terry Butcher and Maurice Malpass returning. It's a club they did such a good job at. Is it a good thing Inverness have a game before the final?
I think it is on this occasion. As much as I've shown over the years a great team spirit, just think the competence, looking at the last 2 games, last 2 performances, an all-time low. So no bad thing to get a game in before that.
It was just a bit too much for Brian Graham to get onto. You get to see the best in Brian Graham in a tangerine jersey. He was so prolific with Wraith Rovers. But those 3 will be absolutely delighted with this afternoon's work. Breezing their way towards the last 4. Trying to get into a 10th Scottish Cup final. Dundee United, who will play either St Johnstone, Aberdeen, Rangers or Albion Rovers, who will play in the final quarter-final a bit later this afternoon. The draw's made after that. Could be a couple of cracking semi-finals, Billy, on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, getting to that time. Both semis at Ibrox, final at Parkhead. Plenty to look forward to for all 4 teams. Still Rangers, Albion Rovers to be sorted.
We said at the top of the programme today that this was the most difficult of the quarter-finals to call. The Dundee United have made it look pretty easy. They were dominating before Greg Tansey was ordered off, followed by Marley Watkins. Been all about them today. That's Armstrong, and then Graham puts it over. And it did take a touch off Meekings on its way.
Yeah, it did, but it's just slick play. They've dropped the pace United, just seeing it out, but when they lift it again, Robertson into Armstrong, fires it across, just outside of the boot, takes a little flick off Meekins, as you said.
Billy Mackay is about to be taken off by John Hughes with 5 minutes to go. Armstrong takes the corner, away by Williams. Robertson. Gomez. It's Mackay-Stephen to Robertson again. Good hit away by Shinnie, yeah.
Bet they wish they defended like that all day.
Yep. That ship has sailed. Robertson. Gomez offers himself on the touchline. Robertson. This is Armstrong. This is Payton. Well, Graham Shinnie got the home sponsors man of the match there. He was roundly cheered by the Dundee United supporters. They have to name one, it's as simple as that.
But I'm sure, knowing Graham Shinnie, I think he's an excellent player, a top player, most consistent for Inverness, but I think he'll be a tad embarrassed.
Well, Billy Mackay will come off now. 20 goals this season, hasn't had a look in today. And he's being replaced by Ryan Christie, who is the son of Charlie Christie, who will be joining us for our League Cup final coverage a week today. Watching on from the stand today, he will have been watching it from behind his seat in the box up in the main stand there. Ryan Christie came on last week against Celtic. He looked okay, looked lively. Watson short to Mackay-Stephen. As things stand, there'll be just the 1 minute of stoppage time added on at the end, and Inverness Caledonian Thistle will be delighted about that. They will want to forget about this game. They'll have to. Massive games to come, none more so than at Celtic Park next Sunday afternoon. Gomez judged that well, but it's gone to Raven. Polworth to Williams. Shinnie. It's Christie. Man of the match getting his name sung by the Dundee United supporters. Home man of the match, Graham Shinnie. Polworth. Two subs there, Danny Williams another. Trying to seek out Warren. Well, Willie Collum hasn't blown the whistle that time. He had a right good look at the challenge in Chersniak. Comes Armstrong. Can United get a sixth before time up?
6v4. Warren getting back in now.
Here's Graham. He's going to have a go. Always rising. Talking about the Dundee United fans having a laugh at Graham Shinnie's expense because he was named sponsors man of the match here. But who stood out for you for Dundee United?
I think you have to say Chiefchy before he did go off, not just because he's got 2 goals. He loves, I said about the presence he's got, the physical side, the game awareness, throws in a few flicks and tricks as well, so he was excellent once more. Don't blame him for giving him a rest either.
Semi-finals next month, both at Ibrox. Robertson. Armstrong. Malagui just outstretched his leg, couldn't get there. Into the 1 minute of stoppage time at the end here. Ballworth was fouled by Morgado Gomez. We're talking about Charlie Christie, there he is. Inverness legend. Former manager as well. Of course played his part in their most famous Scottish Cup victory at Celtic Park in 2000. This is one to forget for them. Armstrong finds Gomez. Dundee United's hopes of reaching a 10th Scottish Cup final very much alive and kicking. Jackie McNamara will go and exchange handshakes with his former Celtic teammate John Hughes. McNamara beating Hughes well here at the Caledonian Stadium. A 5-star show from the Tangerines, who at times this season have been goal crazy. They did that again today. 3 up at half-time. Gavin Gunning got the third from the penalty spot after he'd been fouled by Graham Shinney. Nadir Chifchi got the first 2. Another virtuoso performance from the United Turkish striker. Mackay Stephen in the counter-attack made it 4. And the man he's embracing there, Stuart Armstrong, with a header from a Watson cross, made it 5. Caley Thistle had Greg Tansey and Marley Watkins sent off either side of half-time. They go out, they will focus on the League Cup final. They will take Aberdeen on at Celtic Park next week. Dundee United will go to Ibrox next month for the William Hill Scottish Cup semi-finals. They'll find out who they'll face later on today. Happy Arabs, and little wonder. And they will believe that they can move on to lift the silverware, the Scottish Cup, for the second time in 4 years. That dream has gone for now for John Hughes and his Inverness Caley Thistle side. An afternoon that they will not want to remember. Game against Hibs to get it out of their system before they make the journey to Glasgow next week. And it's Thurso's Gary Mackay-Stephen trooping off there, having scored the 4th today. Good performance from just about everyone in Tangerine today. In the Highlands, it finishes Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, Dundee United 5.
A stunning performance and result for Dundee United as they cruise through to the Scottish Cup semi-finals.